Juliet Nachiguli is a married woman living in Kampala. 20 years ago, she fell in love with the man of her dreams and decided to marry him. But little did she know that her decision would later turn her world upside down. Last year, Nachiguli was standing outside their home in Kawempe, contemplating killing her family members and taking her own life. She felt like she had lost a battle with deep depression. Clutching a bag that contained rat poison and a rope, she was determined to end things. But a thought crossed her mind at the last minute that made her reconsider the decision. Nachiguli would later find out that she was living with recurrent depressive disorder. The condition causes her to have severe mood swings, moving between elation and despair. It can last for weeks or even months. Many Ugandans with disorders like Nachiguli's are unaware they are suffering from depression.
Many times they may not understand that this is a medical condition called depression, for which treatment can be provided.
But one wonders how depression occurs. Some of its symptoms include poor appetite, loss of sleep, body pains, mood swings, and anxiety.
It affects mood, a person's mood, in such a way that a person feels very sad for a prolonged period of time, usually 2 weeks or more.
Depression can also lead to addictions, especially drugs and alcoholism. This, in most cases, is to help one get relief.
Could be both men and women, but more so men. When they feel low and depressed, they may not express it like the women do, but may instead try to remedy it by getting into drinking, getting into using drugs, and other behavior problems.
Liz Kakoza is currently recovering from depression too. She says her addiction to alcohol since her high school days were later discovered to be precipitated by bipolar affective disorder.
Having something or feeling a certain way and not being able to express how you're feeling or what you're feeling in words. That's how difficult it is living with a mental health disorder.
How then did this affect her life?
In my instance, my joints used to hurt terribly, and for a long time it was diagnosed as this, that, the other.
At its worst, depression can lead to suicide. Statistics from the World Health Organization indicate that close to 800,000 people commit suicide every year. Suicide is the second leading cause of death in 15 to 29-year-olds. In September 2016, a 17-year-old boy called Mustafa Lule tried to take his life by jumping off a building in Kampala. He survived death by a whisker after the fall. We caught up with him after he was discharged and asked him why he attempted to commit suicide. Trying to kill oneself is illegal in Uganda, punishable with imprisonment for up to 2 years. Lule was charged with attempted suicide and sent to prison. Statistics from the National Psychiatric Hospital in Butabika show that women are most affected by depression.
Pregnancy and childbirth is particularly a big risk factor for women to develop depression. Studies have recorded up to 30% of pregnant women are being found with depression, and a whole range of prevalences has been found among the postpartum women.
According to the World Health Organization, up to 300 million people are currently suffering from depression globally. Depression results from a complex interaction of social, psychological, and biological factors, as Dr. Naku explains.
They may feel very guilty because they're very sad. They think the world around them is blaming them for whatever, or the world is very bad. So they tend to feel guilty about anything and everything, blame themselves for whatever is going on around them or whatever is happening to them, and they feel hopeless. So when the mood goes so low, everything becomes dark for this individual.
Depression is a leading cause of disability worldwide and is a major contributor to the overall global burden of disease. Depending on the number and severity of symptoms, a depressive episode can be categorized as mild, moderate, or severe, and that also determines prescription of treatment.
It can be treated at home or in the community, or it can be treated in hospital depending on the severity. And it can be treated by talk therapy in the community or by talk therapy by formal trained health workers like psychologists. If you have a milder form of depression, often we recommend that you have some talk therapy, because you can have informal talk therapy in the community, supportive counseling from relatives and friends and elders and church leaders. The talking may help only to an extent, but usually these people need medication, because if they don't get treated, then it gets very severe. It gets even more severe, and it puts people at risk of complications like suicide, homicide.
By 2015, the World Health Organization had estimated that up to 11 million people are suffering from depression here in Uganda. 3 years later, the population stands at 39 million people. It is said that the number of people suffering from depression has more than doubled. But here at Butabika Hospital, the National Psychiatric Referral Hospital, up to 900 people can receive treatment at a time.
So up to 7,000 people are seen in this hospital in a month, in the outpatients. When it comes to the inpatients, we admit new patients anything between 300 and 400 in a month, new patients. Not to mention a similar number of readmissions.
There is a lot of stigma around mental illness. Many Ugandans believe that mental illness is linked to curses or demons. Despite that, the country only has about 36 psychiatrists. Dr. Naku says they are trained as medical professionals.
We are very short on human resource still. We have had recently a boost from government, which we appreciate very much. But this is still not sufficient.
She also says there is no information on mental illness to educate the public.
Because this is an area where people have very little knowledge, and yet it's an area that is very important. If your brain is not working, nothing on your body will work properly. I mean, you will just not function.
She added that the government needs to invest more in this sector because the 1% contribution from the health budget is not sufficient.
We would appreciate more financial resources, if possible, so that we can develop services, better and be able to handle all the numbers that we have.
But an organization based in Kampala called Strong Minds is training locals on how to provide treatment to depressed people. Daniel Onyanya, the program's manager, says their strategy involves talk therapy.
We have a tool that we screen, just like we'd go to a hospital, and they screen you, ask you questions, and based on those questions, there are a set of 9 questions which we score. Once the person has scores above 10 upwards, then there may be other questions that are asked to determine whether they are depressed or not. Those who are not depressed or who are mildly depressed are counseled and allowed to go back to the community. But those who are moderately depressed or severely depressed, then we take them through therapy.
He says they currently operate in 4 districts: Mukono, Wakiso, Kampala, and Iganga. Most of their clients are women. And he also explained the issues they present with the most.
Domestic violence. The other factor has been grief when they've lost their loved ones or they've lost businesses. And then the other thing that we've also seen is when people are going through life changes, like maybe you've lost a job.
In an effort to increase awareness, Liz Kakoza started up an organization where she openly speaks about mental health.
So we want to open treatment centers. We want to start by opening outpatient centers, like create safe spaces where people can come in, where we can have support group meetings, frequent support group meetings, almost daily even, where people can come in, share their problems. We also want to, they'll also have access to a psychiatrist and a therapist.
The burden of depression and other mental health conditions is on the rise globally. A World Health Assembly resolution passed in May 2013 called for comprehensive, coordinated response to mental disorders at country level. The World Health Organization has an initiative called Mental Health Gap Action Program, which aims at helping countries increase services for people with mental, neurological, and substance use disorders through care provided by health workers who are not specialists in mental health. Walter Mwesije, NTV.